Hi everybody, I'm Arkush for the Chicago Sun-Times and ChicagoSunTimes.com, here with the first of our 17 weekly fantasy football previews. It should be a great year for your fantasy football team, and we've definitely got some matchups for you to exploit and avoid when it comes to week one of the season. Now, first of all, some matchups you want to take advantage of. If you've got Colin Kaepernick or you're looking to pick up a quarterback week one, he's not necessarily a great fantasy quarterback, but remember, last year in the opener against the Packers, almost 450 yards of total offense, 3 touchdowns, and in week one he goes to Dallas, where the Cowboys were the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL last year, and if it's possible, they look worse this year. So you definitely want to consider getting Colin Kaepernick in your lineup at quarterback. Now, if you don't go with Kaepernick, another quarterback to look at is the Chicago Bears' Jay Cutler. Cutler has not been a consistent fantasy performer. He hasn't been a consistent performer at the position, period, but a lot of people believe this is Cutler's year, and he has been very good in openers. He is 4-0 as an opening day quarterback with the Chicago Bears. He has thrown for at least 2 touchdowns in every one of those games, and he's thrown for over 300 yards in the opener twice. So Cutler is a very nice fantasy bet this weekend. You want a running back? How about Bernard Pierce of the Baltimore Ravens? Now, on the face of it, you might think, hey, Bengals defense was 5th against the run last year. Maybe this isn't a good spot. But the bottom line is this will be the Bengals' first game without their Pro Bowl defensive end Michael Johnson, who left via free agency for Tampa, and more importantly, they'll be without defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. He is the new head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. We don't know how this Bengals defense is going to respond. We do know that John Harbaugh and company are going to pound them with Bernard Pierce. You've got Ray Rice suspended for the first 2 weeks of the season. Pierce is going to be their answer. The Ravens' season is about getting back to the running game, and Pierce has got something to prove. He's got 2 weeks to prove that he can command carries from Rice while Rice is out of the lineup. So we look for a big effort from Bernard Pierce in the opener this weekend. The last matchup I think you want to exploit is if you've got Emmanuel Sanders, the wide receiver new to the Denver Broncos, or if you can get him. Remember, he was signed as a free agent this offseason. He is going to get a ton of looks from Peyton Manning on Sunday night on the game of the week. Wes Welker suspended for the first 4 weeks. Forget whether you believe his excuses or not. What we know is Emmanuel Sanders was actually brought in to take the Eric Decker spot on the flanker outside of the slot receiver, but with Welker down, Sanders is the only real choice the Broncos have left to slide inside and get all of those Welker looks. They've got rookie Corey Latimer, will probably have to start on the outside. As much as this has been a position of strength for the Denver Broncos, once you take Welker out of the equation, they're not real deep here. Obviously, Demaryius Thomas will get a lot of work, but look for Sanders to get a ton of opportunities to pile up fantasy points for you. Now, how about some matchups that you really want to avoid? We're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons quarterback, Matt Ryan. He is not a good start against a vastly improved New Orleans Saints defense, and with an offensive line that struggled last year. They set out to fix that line during the offseason, drafting Jake Matthews to play right tackle. Unfortunately, the Falcons starting left tackle, you've got him gone for the year, Sam Baker. So now Matthews moves over on the left side. We don't know if he's ready for that yet. And you've got the right side still weak. It's not a good week to find out if you're going to get an explosion this year in fantasy from Matt Ryan. Another quarterback we would stay away from is Miami's Ryan Tannehill. I like Tannehill. I think he's going to be a good football player, but another offensive line that needs work. The Dolphins did bring in Brandon Albert. They did draft Juwan James, but they get the New England Patriots defense this week, and this is the defense that added Darrelle Revis at one cornerback. They've got Brandon Browner. They added another cornerback. They've got great safeties, particularly you've got McCourty back there, and they get back Gerard Mayo, who missed the second half of last year with injury, but is their leading tackler. This is not a defense that you want to be challenging this week with Ryan Tannehill. We've also got the Raiders running backs as players that you want to stay away from if you can. It doesn't matter if it's Darren McFadden or if it's Maurice Jones-Drew. They're going up against a New York Jets run defense that was one of the best in the league last year, figures to be very good again this year. The Raiders are going to travel coast to coast for this game. It's just not a good week to be playing a Raider running back. We've got the best in fantasy football for you all week long, all season long, right here at ChicagoSunTimes.com.